do sporty, kind of she won't do anything else. Like she won't run laps around the pitch with me, or she won't do like kind of 400-meter sprint. So we come to a compromise. So she's agreed to play a game of tennis. So kind of
I'd say you're
good.
You're still a competitive hooer, so I'd say you don't get let her away with too much.
Do you know, I'd be a great tennis player if I could serve the bloody thing, get it up the net.
I think Siobhan's a great dancer as well.
Yeah, she had a good dance teacher there, wouldn't I? In the city US, not talking to anyone in particular.
I remember it.
He was going well and he told her he couldn't play tennis. Shane, I can't imagine you're the tennis kind, but rumour has it you're back with RTE you've been signed up for another year at Punditry.
Who told you that? That's a lie.
Rumour exclusive.
No, not at all. But we have the Marty squad, I think, for the Galway Mayo game down in Castlebar, I think, on the 13th. So that'll be a big game that everybody in Connacht is looking forward to. A little bit of helter-skelter down there, and hopefully there's a lot of skin and hair flying, and there's a lot of casualties because Roscommon hopefully will have, I say hopefully, dutifully and respectfully to Leitrim, that they'll be in the Connacht final after beating Leitrim or New York, actually, as it happens. But the more casualties there are down west, the better. So I'm looking forward to covering that for the Marty squad, Jim.
Yeah, I suppose, especially after the way the league game went this year, it's going to be a feisty affair, the way things are shaping up.
Sure will, and I suppose Galway getting to a league final and Mayo, by the skin of their teeth, coming out of Donegal and keeping their Division 1 status with the 15-step, was it? Kevin, McLaughlin point, so, but look, that's Mayo. They're in it for the long haul and they're a good side, but I think they'll want to win the front door, I think, this year, certainly, and that's what I suppose adds currency to the actual game, so it will be tough. But come back to the tennis, we were all big tennis followers back in the day, the Ball Brat, John McEnroe, Jimmy Connors. My favourite.
Who was your favourite?
Bjorn Borg. Jeez, I
Bjorn
loved
Borg,
him, yeah. I just loved the way he used to collapse on his knees after winning Wimbledon. It was great. It was like winning.
It was a ritual for him.
It was a ritual, for 5 years.
He owned a set the court.
He did, yeah. He was brilliant. And then you had McEnroe with the left hand. And, Ilya Nastasi was brilliant as well. Jeez,
you're putting up the names here now.
It was brilliant, yeah. That's long before your time, Kieran. Now you weren't even born. Yeah, you weren't even born.
No, I wouldn't. I would have been more. Roger Federer now would have been kind of in his prime, but it shows you he's still going very strong even at his age. So it just shows you that class is permanent at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I think he's 35 now. It's
35, 36. Yeah. The way he just squatted off like young competitors over the last couple of years, it's just been phenomenal. He's reinvented himself as a tennis player. Like I'm no tennis expert, but like talking to my tennis friends, he's been more economical with his tennis compared to the likes of Rafa and Djokovic, who were breaking down because they play very attritional tennis. But he's the only fella that does a backhand with one. Backhand with one hand, really himself and Mavrinka, it must be a Swiss thing, the others do, the backhand with two hands on it. But
I thought the most beautiful thing in tennis through the 80s and
Gabriela
90s
Sabatini.
Gabriela Sabatini. Argentinian. God, she was a god, Sean, wasn't she? How did you know I was going to say that? It wasn't Martina Navratilova. It was Gabriela Sabatini.
Oh, well, you know your tennis, right? Anyone that knows Gabriela Sabatini knows their tennis. Right?
You wore your pink shirt for her tonight, Shane. I suppose we better get on to a small bit of GEA talk. Shane, this year you've taken over as Roscommon Under-20 manager. How are things going for you so far?
Yeah, look, we're enjoying it. Challenge. A lot of things challenging in the scene on 20 scene, in particular with the players, because the laws of the rules, we'll say, surrounding bringing squads together and things like that were very, very tight. So really and truly you can only bring them collectively in April, and lo and behold then there's an April club month, so you don't see the players. So really collectively we've seen them for the first time on the 25th of April. So it gives us 5 weeks to work with a team for a tournament and a competition. That really, I think it's been really put on the back boiler now. It's not really fair to players because it's been the competition itself is scheduled right smack bang in the middle of the league. So whatever genius thought of that was really thinking about player welfare. Then you've got the other issue of players studying for exams and having to do thesis and all that sort of stuff. And as a manager, it's kind of difficult because you're trying to balance so many balls. And guy comes to you and says, look, I have a thesis to get in. I can't get to train. I can't get down from Dublin. And to be honest, you have to say, look, your study is usually important to you. It's a life changer. So for us, it's about really developing the players, developing the personalities, developing them as people, hopefully, developing an ethos and a culture and a leadership mentality in them that hopefully will reflect well on them when they go on to become senior club players or senior footballers for Roscommon. And Kevin and I tic-tac very closely. I think between us we have about 67 or 68 players between the Roscommon senior team, obviously, the Roscommon junior team, and my management team. Then we've 30, 33, 34 now that we'll be working with. But the whole goal is to just prepare them really for hopefully inter-county football in 2 or 3 years' time, and see can some of them go and climb the ladder to that level. You know, we're fortunate enough in Roscommon that we've good underage structure. We've good coaching, which is important, and you know, if we can get to a level where we can compete with the bigger boys, Galway and Mayo in Connacht, in particular, and maybe get into Super8s, or whatever way the championship form is going to go in the future, which is going to favour the stronger teams. We have got to be there, and you can only be there by investing in youth and try to drive a different kind of culture.
And I suppose, like, just when you're mentioning that there, the way you're working so closely with Kevin McStay, I suppose it's probably imperative that you have probably a good relationship with the senior manager. The way things are broken up between players leaving and players coming all the time, it'd probably be impossible if you probably weren't see eye to eye with the senior manager.
Oh, you have to. I mean, look at it. There's war stories in the past, you know, and certainly in Roscommon there's enough of them, you know, where you're fighting for this fella and you're fighting for that fella and you're fighting for the other fella. But if you're doing that, really the only person you're letting down is the player. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best for the player, and you have to take a common sense approach. So some people say the most uncommon thing about common sense is that it's not common, you know. But Kevin, in fairness, is great. You know, he understands what needs to be done to drive younger players, and we work off the same template. Our coaching is very similar. Our game plans are very similar. How we adapt and how we drive players is similar. My management team, we talk to his management team, so there's a lot of cross talking, which is good, and we pinch ideas off each other and work together. I think that's the way you know, the way it should work. You know, we're in it for Team Roscommon, and that's all that matters. And you know, our I suppose Eddie Lones and me, Porrick Kelly, all played for Roscommon. Colin Kenny, Porrick Brennan. Our wish in our lifetime, we're still all in our 40s, is to see Roscommon win Sam Maguire, and it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. It's like the Pope coming or something, you know, or whatever. You know, and for us, that's our goal, and how we do it is we have to work together, and that's the way. And hopefully in the future we'll see that.
Great stuff. What about yourself, Sean O'Gay? Have you any management aspirations during the summer, or are you involved in any team, or how are things going on?
Just involved with my own local team, the Pearse League. I'm looking after the minor team, and then I'm helping out with the seniors. So that'll keep me busy for the. We actually have first round hurling championship Sunday at senior level, so that'll be an interesting one because we're after a disastrous league campaign. The league kicked off, say, shortly after Paddy's Day.
Yeah.
And we lost 6 or 7 league games. Apologies. We played 7, won 1, lost 6. So we're going into the championship game this Sunday, you know, kind of, the fella's probably low in confidence a small bit. But it's... See what you're trying to tell fellas, especially when you're working with these fellas for the last 3 years, that like the league is not going to define us in any way. You know, kind of you have to play the league games where, like, just say in my first year 2 years ago, kind of there would have been more kind of importance on the league, and you're trying to get fellas to develop into more championship game mode players rather than league. You know, but that's not to say that you don't. That's not to say that you go in the league and you don't try. We did, but we just fell short. But so Sunday be a good test against a team we beat last year in the quarter final. So just an extra incentive for Bandon, because basically, you know, if you meet a team that beat you the previous year, you be all gunning out to make amends. So So Sunday will be interesting, and then after that, then we've hurling. Minor championship the week after. So it'll be all coming thick and fast, yeah.
And just in relation to that, I suppose you've got the county players back. I don't know, have you anyone involved with Piercy, but you got them back for the month of April. You've won let them go. Has that made much of a difference to your preparations?
In fairness to Christopher Joyce, right? He plays wing back with Cork. Any league games or any training sessions, he was available for it.
Yeah.
He's made available for it. So I mean, with my concerns, to be honest, though, I think it fell short nationwide, but with the Cork's hurling team, it seemed to work fine with the clubs, you know.
Yeah, and what's your overall indication of how it went? And nationwide, you think it was a bit of a failure?
From what I'm hearing, that I don't think that policy was adhered to, to the letter of law. So you either do it right or you don't do it at all. And it wasn't done right. But I can't crib. I can't crib personally, because we had Christopher Joyce. Anytime we had club activity, he was there. So.
Yeah. I suppose for yourself, Kieran, you were back with the club Maryland for the month. How did you find it yourself? Was there much of demand put on you to go train with the county as well, or was it just a part of the club month?
It's hard, and it is hard on the management, because they're trying the county management, because they're trying to get the best out of us in May, and the club are trying to get the best out of you for the league matches in this month. But in fairness, they have worked around the clubs. If there was anything on with the club, no bother at all. Again, this is the month for the club, but it's just we're not too bad because we're on at the end of May. But for the teams that are on in the middle of May, they're only 2 weeks back for training for championship, and I don't think that's the right preparation at all. And a lot of teams, I think in Offaly there was huge controversy with the hurlers, that they actually, anyone that was playing club championship with their football club and on the hurling panel didn't play with the football clubs at all. So that didn't work there at either. So it has to be the same all over the country. You can't, some counties can't do one thing and the other counties can't do.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you there. I know from our players, and just from talking to the Westmeath players, we'd be doing a tough running session maybe on a Tuesday with Gary Castle, and then they'd have to get in the cars on a Wednesday night and drive to Dublin through a tough running session then with Westmeath. And I don't see where the fairness is in that with the county players. I think there's an awful lot of demand being put on them to do that. I think there should be a lot more trust placed it in. I think years ago maybe there's a lot to be said. Maybe, I don't know, for players are let off on their own, maybe they weren't trusted to do the training. But I think county players can be trusted nowadays to do the training themselves. And I don't see the benefit of bringing players up the day after doing a hard running session, the whole way to Dublin to do another running session. I don't know how you felt about that.
It's just nearly more draining, the fact of going and coming back from it. You don't mind once you're there and on the pitch and with the lads, but as I said, no matter where you're going from so we're training in Mullingar, it's still a 45-minute drive from Athlone up to Mullingar, and there's a lot of lads even driving further. But as I said, it's the travelling is the draining part of it. But county players at this stage, they know they have to keep them going at their training. And we were lucky that in fairness, that the county organised GPSs for us to put on, and they could track to see what we're doing as well, monitor our training load and stuff like that with the clubs. So Westmeath didn't have championship over the few weeks, so that kind of probably helped the players as well, that there was 2 or 3 league games, so there wasn't as much pressure on us over the month of April from the clubs either. But if there was championship, it would be a whole different story.
Yeah, it'd be a different ballgame altogether. I don't think the pressure we put on to go train and play with the county.
Yeah.
I suppose, Shano, before we broke for our spring break, we had a good chat about the club finals, and you were very adamant that this was going to be a rip-roaring club final.
Yeah, we got it. We got it.
And you hit the nail on the head. What was your thoughts on how that finished out?
As a Munster man, I'm disappointed, and the Piercy Limerick didn't win it. I actually thought they should have nailed it the first day. They lost it the first day, actually. I hate giving out about referees, and I shouldn't, because they're an integral part. And we find it hard to get the recruitment of referees is shocking all over the place. But the free that Kula got, which was the equalising score, I didn't see any free. But anyway, look. But I remember a manager said, look, in the end of the day, if the opposition has more scores than you on the scoreboard, they deserve to win, regardless of what happened. in your head, you might think you deserve to win, or you should have done this, or a couple of things like you should have got a few breaks. But in the end of the day, Cooler won it after 2 games, so they were deserving winners. I actually thought, more so than the hurling, I actually thought the conditioning was superb.
Yeah.
Cooler actually. So the Piercy seemed to have the hurlers, but they just couldn't finish it. And at any time, the Piercy went ahead, Cooler were able to come back, and I thought the second day, they just ran out the game. They could have played another 30 minutes.
They were in serious physical condition.
So the stock market won't be played for another year, I'd say, is it? Up in Dalkey.
Can I ask you a question though, Sinead, on that up in Roscommon it's more stick fighting than hurling.
Oh yeah.
They're not bad now, they're not bad.
Don't wait.
No disrespect on you.
Well, it's stick fight no way, but just don't get caught.
Don't get caught.
That's the but go on anyway.
I remember just vividly watching that final, right? And go back to the referee and the free. But I was roaring at the Piercy guys really, and found myself roaring at them. Why don't you get more men on the line? You could see quite clearly that they hadn't enough players on the line, and that there was only going to be one outcome, and the Cooler player could only go for a goal.
Sure, he had to go for it.
He had to go for a goal, and only I think they had 4 on it. Why didn't they just hammer it? Even in football, you put 13 fellas, and we were stupid as we're not smart as hurlers. I remember that. But we put everyone behind the ball,
Yeah, I and which is a fair point, right? And then that would have been my philosophy for a good number of years until Donald Grady, right? Who's probably the best. He's the best hurling coach I ever worked under. Okay, I've worked under great coaches, but from a hurling tactical and technical point of view, he's A1, right? So Grady would argue you should have less on the line, because the more you have on the line, it's like a shot being taken on us. Kieran is saying, sure, look, Shane will cover this, and Doran will cover it, Sean will cover it, and then Doran is thinking the same with the others. So everyone is relying on everyone else to stop it except themselves. And then what you find is no one takes ownership, and then where a few have less on the line, you have to make that player safe. But that's a fair point. So you're saying
goalie, the goalie's oversized hurdles as well. You need that, in a game like that you give the oversized hurdle. And I mean, if you have a goal and you cut it down, what the mathematics are. But if you to say 90% of a 3 is win, but if you're playing golf, the ball always finds the 3.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think the more people you have in there, definitely the better. I just couldn't understand why they didn't prepare properly. It was the last puck of the game,
I should
he
had to go for it, man. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he had to go for it. It wasn't like that a point would do. And look, it was a dubious free, but the Piercy had ample opportunities up to then, to kill it off completely, and they'll be really kicking themselves, and then do you know what's more gut-wrenching? Conor O'Callaghan has been running the show, in all the championship games, he was kept quiet that day,
done a great job on him.
Did a fantastic job, and it's still you need to finish it off, when you've done all the donkey work of keeping him quiet, you need to finish it off. But in fairness, to win something once is great achievement, but to do it back to back is even a great Kilkenny size like Ballyhale, Sheffield's club never did back to back, it's a song going. I suppose one consolation is they did wear red jerseys, so
you were taking all the positive you can get out with Sean. Just getting on to the club, to the football final, Shane. Your own nemesis out there, Curran, they probably produced one of the best performances I've ever seen from a club team inside in Croke Park. I don't think any club team, maybe over the last 7 or 8 years, would have been able to hold them the way they performed that day. What's your own take on it? I don't know if you're going to give the Curran boys too much praise.
No, you have to. I mean, at the end of the day, the brand of football is fantastic. The way they play it, it's a tremendous brand of football, and people say you can't replicate that into county level. You can if you want. And they have a desire to play the game well. They've got great structures. They're the envy of a lot of clubs. They're a huge club. I mean, they are phenomenally big, which gives them an advantage. But there's a lot of big clubs that haven't done the work that they do either, and we have to be honest about that. Funnily enough, they got their biggest I suppose challenges were in Connacht. Ourselves, we ran them to extra time, and Castlebar done the same, almost mirrored our game with them. But they found it in their locker room to come up, and the 14 men against Moorfield in the semi final, and won the game. And then in the All Ireland semi final against Nemo, I don't know. I just think Nemo didn't even. I don't think even Nemo knew who Curran were, to be honest about it. I don't think they had done any background work on them. I think they took them for granted. I thought they looked like a team that, you know, Nemo, their history would stand them in good stead, and we're probably looking at the past and not the present, and they were just walloped off the park, and you know, it's a credit to Curran, as Sean said. It's hard to do back to back, but these guys have been going now, Alex, for.
They won it recently enough.
They won it
3 years ago. 2 years ago.
They've been unfortunate enough to be beaten. You know, we beat them in the Connacht final. We've been tic-tacking with them over the last number of years. But they're a good side, and you know they're the barometer now. And you know we go into training, and we'll be looking hopefully at the back end of the year and getting hopefully into a Roscommon county final or semi-final, whatever you have to go through the phases and win those games. But you know they are the barometer now, and they're a credit to themselves, and they're a credit to their area, and hats off to them. The brand of football they play is fantastic.
Yeah, they are certainly the barometer probably for the whole country, and everyone's looking up to them, and it's nice to see a good brand of football and team playing a good brand of football, winning an All-Ireland final.
Yeah, and it's a traditional Galway style. You know, it relies a lot on foot passing, kick passing, and things like that. Accurate kick passing as well. Good support play. The Galway, funnily enough, the Galway senior team play a completely different way, but they've got a different influence, I suppose, northern influence now in coaching with Kevin. So, but the Curran thing works, and as I said, they're the barometer, and they're the guys we're chasing now. And